Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Scotty G here. Well, I've had some requests about some golf tips. Right, well, we'll just start off with the basics, basically. It's a long time since I've played. I'm not going to use any clubs at the minute. I'm just going to give you a basic understanding of it. You know, I never had any lessons. Basically, I started playing at the age of 8 and joined the junior team when I was 12 and played on the senior team when I was like in my latter years when I was about 17. But I was a member of Parklands Golf Club. It's in Gosforth, Newcastle, and basically I'm right-handed. You know, I mean, I'm not going to patronise anybody, but obviously you wear your glove on the left hand. Right, so basically the grip, so there's a lot of grips. You can have the interlocking grip like that, or you can have the overlapping grip, or you can have the baseball grip, whichever makes you comfortable. You know, I mean, some people feel like that. My dad felt like he wanted to be the interlocking grip, but mine was just the baseball grip, and it worked for me, you know. So also your footwork, your feet. Now you stand with your feet more or less aligned with your shoulders, you know, apart, you know, slightly outwards, and you place the ball on the inline of your left ankle, and keep your shoulders straight like that. Now, when I was growing up, Tiger Woods was really kicking it, so I modelled my swing on his, and it's a very fast swing. Some people like a slow swing, you know, like that, and follow through, but it's hard to master. So if you want to go for the fast swing, the slow swing, you know, whatever works for you. I personally go for the fast swing. If you get it right, it works. If you don't, then it can go a bit haywire. But basically the demonstration anyway. Right, so like that. And also, never keep your eye off that ball until you hit it. You know, so you've got the ball in line with your left ankle, like that. Now take your eye off the ball, take it off. Now, as I'm bringing the club back here, you see there, now the club is going to be pointing that way. Now that's where the hole is going to be. Now when you take it back like that, hold it there, where that club's pointing, that's where the ball wants to go. That's where the ball is going to end up going. You know, so you follow through, come back, and where you're pointing there, hopefully that's where the ball should go, you know. But always keep your balance, and it's not how big you are, you know. You can be 18 stone. It doesn't. That's not going to make the ball make you hit the ball any further. It's all about in the rotation of the hips, rotating the hips. So rotating the hips like that. You know, if you get that rotation in the hips, you know, get the rotation in the hips, and that's where the key is, the rotation in the hips. You know, I mean, there's loads of technicalities, you know, I mean, you know, and also all these expensive clubs out there, the Callaways, you know, it was Callaway Big Berthas, or £1,000 for the irons when I was growing up, and I couldn't afford them when I was a teenager. you know. Mine were Top Flight Magna, and they were £250 for a set of irons, and I had 3 to 9 irons. I had a pitching wedge, a sand wedge, a lob wedge, which, well, a 60-degree wedge. I did have a ping putter, which was good putter. And I had a driver, 1 wood, a 3 wood, and a 5 wood. And I used to like the 5 wood, good on the par 5s, you know. Sometimes I used to tee off using my driver. Sometimes I used to tee off using irons, you know, I used to love a 4 iron. And, you know, I mean, there was times I could hit my 4 iron just as far as some lads were hitting the drivers, you know. I would say maybe I won the longest drive competition once at Newcastle United Golf Club. I think it was 338 yards. I won that award, and that was with the driver. It was on a par 5. I've never had a hole in one. I think it's just sheer luck, you know. My best round Parklands, it was par 71, and I shot a 69 once round Parklands, 2 under par, you know. But basically I was averaging, like, you know, the low 70s, mid 70s, you know, because I got down to like, I think I got down to like one, I got down to 2, and then I did get down to 1. But I mean, you know, to be really good, turn pro and go on tour, and to be successful, and hopefully go and mix it with the big boys, and even then that's, you know, really hard. You've got to be like, not just off scratch, you've got to be off like +3, +4, +5, you know. And, you know, basically it's not just about hitting the ball long, you know. You've got to hit the fairways. Obviously, you know, you've got to be able to, I was always good at judging, you know. My perfect conditions were like early, like obviously I used to like playing early in the morning, where it was like moist, bit damp but not wet, no wind, and I had a good inclination of like judging how far the ball was away, you know. So say it was about, say, 120 yards, you know, I would take, well, 125 yards. Some players might take a 9 iron, you know, but I would go for that big pitching wedge, you know, big pitching wedge. And some people would rather go for the 9 iron and take it slow and bounce it up, but I'd rather go for the pitching wedge. A good idea, you know, get right underneath it, like that, and bump, be able to stop the ball dead on the green. And that was what I liked. But I mean, there's loads of different types of golfing competition. You've got your match play, Stableford, you know, just a normal points game. Well, obviously Stableford's points, but just a normal game. But my forte was match play. We used to play that in the junior team, and I was also good at that. Basically, it's like, say, you start off, you've got 18 holes, obviously. And see if you beat your opponent in the first hole, you go 1 up, and then if you go second hole 2 up, 3 up, 4 up, and so on. And then if it gets to like the stage, basically, like say you're on the 14th hole and you're 2. Say if you're on the 15th hole and you're 2 up, You know, you're on the 15th hole, you're 2 up. You've got the 15, 16, 17 and 18. You've got 4 holes left, you're 2 up. You win the next hole, you go 3 up. With 4 to play. Yeah? So, now if you're on the 17th hole, and you're 1 up, right? If you're on the 17th hole and you're 1 up, and you win that 17th hole, that means you're 2 up, but you've only got 1 to play. So you win that game 2-1, because the guy can only, there's only one hole, hole left to play, so he could only win 1 point, but you're already 2 up, so you would so you're already 1 up, so you would win 2-1, and that's how that works, and that's the way we used to play in the junior game, you know, match play. I used to like it hole for hole, and that's how I beat the. I was the number one junior captain at the time, and like I said, I think I was off about then. I think I was about 13-year-old, and I was off about 5 or 6 handicapper. And the lad I played, he was giving lessons. He was a professional in Parkman's Golf Club, but he played for Orchard Hall. And like I think I've said in previous videos, he drove the green, the par 4 in the first hole. I mean, it's 300 odd yards, you know. I had a fairly decent shot, and were up and down all around the course, you know. And I've got quite a good short game as well, you know. And short game is very, very important. I'll get onto that in another video. But I'll just tell you, basically, we got all the way around and won the 18th hole, and it was a par 3, 189 yards, I believe. So that for me it's in between a 6 and a 7 iron. Do I take a nice easy 6 iron, or do I take a big 7 iron? Well, the conditions were good, you know, perfect conditions. It was his honour, so he hit his shot just right to the green, but just on it. So I steps up, and I just my caddy wanted us to take a 6 iron, but I says no, I play this course all the time, I'll go for it. So I took my 7 iron, and I was, oh fuck it, go for it. Like that. And boom, 189 yards, and I put that ball, boom, within 4 feet of the hole. Knocked it in, birdie. The lad 2-putted, game over. Beat him on the last hole. He shook my hand. I had to give a speech, because that's what we had to do at the end, and everyone was saying, oh, hey, you know, this lad, he's only 13 years of age, and he's beat our pro, but you know, the lad was gracious about it, you know. It was good, and it was a good feeling for me beating a pro, you know. I was the only one that actually won my game. Orchard Hall beat us as a team, but I was the only one that won a game that day. And we're a young team, you know. We had just come in, Ron Simkin, my manager, God rest his soul. You know, he was a good man. But yeah, I mean, I've played courses all over, Stocksfield, Whitley Bay, Blythe, Newcastle United, Bridle Path, Morpeth, Sea Houses, Westerhope. Wow, I've lost count how many courses I've played, you know. But undoubtedly the best player I've ever played was away at the Bridle Path, which is in Gosforth. and was their top player. He was the number one, Andrew Minigan, and I think he was off about 2 at the time. I think I was off about 5, and I didn't play that well that day, but he beat us, and that's the best player I've ever played against, you know. And mine, I took him up to the I took him right the way around to the 15th, you know. But he beat us on the 15th hole match play, and then I found out that he actually did turn pro properly, and he's on European tour now, you know. So I'll have to look him up, actually Google him and see how he's doing. But he was undoubtedly the best player I played, you know. But it is a regret that I didn't keep at it, you know, from being so young and playing. You know, I played from being, I think, 8-year-old until I was 18, 10 year. And then of course, you know, you start discovering, you know, going out with your mates. And my mates who I was playing with, they didn't really have the enthusiasm I did, and they sort of broke away from the game, and I didn't really have anyone to play with. You know, my dad was phoning with us for giving it up, but so was my manager as well. But you never know. I mean, obviously, I think it's too late for us to actually have to get any reconciliation now and turn pro. But that's just totally not going to happen. But you know, I could still enjoy it. You know, it's a good game. And you know, I played, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was still hitting my irons. I was still hitting my irons just as far, you know, because I remember getting on the tee, and I teed off with a 4-iron, and the lad I was playing with, it was a work colleague, and he was saying, he says, "You're hitting your 4-iron, you're hitting your irons further than the pros here are hitting their drivers," you know. And I was like, "Yeah, you know." He says, "Hey, you had lessons?" Yeah, he had loads of lessons, and I was like, "Do you know what it is? I mean, my uncle and my 2 cousins, they all had lessons, and I never had one lesson, you know. I suppose it's just naturally come to us." But that's the most important thing, keeping your eye on the ball at all times till you struck that ball like that. And where that club's pointing, that's where the ball wants to finish up. Keep your balance. And it's all about the rotation in the hips. That's how you get the ball to move, you know. Anyway, that's the first tips for golf. Any requests, any advice or whatever, I'll do some more on the short game and whatnot, and I'll think of some ideas what tips I can give you for all you guys and girls out there. We're on 900 subs now, so just another 100 to go, and we'll hit the magic 1,000 mark. So come on, please get subscribing. You know, we need them subs up. I'll be happy as Larry once I get to 1,000. Anyway, I'm gonna go for now, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Okay, so this is Scotty G with his golf advice out for tonight. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.